We really boxing. Who wanted the battles?
I didn't know you could cook up like that.
Let's see.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weeping and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO. This how it's finna go. I'ma throw some jabs. Make them think my punch is weaker than I hook his ass. This the ring, not the kitchen, but I'ma cook his ass. Me and him, that's the pro versus the rookie class. All my life I had to fight, but I still love it. Me and BVO got moves that you can't steal from us. And these haters be throwing shots, but I don't feel nothing. I ain't gonna lie, shit, they alright, but we a little rougher. Step up for the title and face your rival, this ain't no little tussle. Bet I be no bird, being chicken to get your feathers ruffled. Footwork, I'm dancing around my opponent like the Cupid shuffle. Good work, bodies hit the flow, they can't move a muscle. The upside is we ain't in the streets, shooting and shooting up. Catch me in the ring, sticking, moving and suited up. I know everybody can eat, but I ain't full enough. Oh, you said it's smoking some beef, I guess I'm pulling up. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weeping and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know.
Yo, what's up? You're now rocking with the Rolling with the Punches podcast. It's your boy BVO and D Free, man. We back again. What's going on, D Free?
What's good?
How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Getting through this little storm we had out here, but I'm good.
Yeah, it was coming down. It was coming down over here too, man. Hey, so before we get started, man, I want to ask you a question, man, because you know your boxing, man. Is boxing finally back in the mainstream, man? Are we finally back where we belong in the mainstream?
We're not where we was like in the 80s and in the 90s, but it's getting to that point if we keep putting on these big fights and we keep getting the fights that the fans want to see. It's on its way. I'm gonna say we probably about 5 or 6 fights away from being back to where we was in the 90s and in the 80s. We keep getting these big fights. They keep making these big fights day after day. Then yeah, we'll be right back to where we was.
That's great news. Salute to my man, Just Do. Salute to my man LDTV, my man K Savoy. What's going on?
What's going on, Optimus LD? What's going on, K Savoy? My man Do.
I had that, did you?
Yeah. Hey, I've been trying to get my shit. I told my man G5 to send the joint to me. He still haven't sent it to me yet.
Hey, salute to my man G5. He sent me everything we needed for the show, man. What's going on, my man Pro Mike Connor? What's going on with you, man? He said, BVO, you gotta say my name. What is it? It's Optimist. My bad, man.
Optimist LD.
Optimist LDTV. My bad, man. Don't hurt nobody, man. I know you a gangster, man. You know what? Hey, but we got to get into this, man. What you think about Regis? They saying Regis having a hard time making weight, man.
I mean, it could be a few things. It could be lack of discipline. It could be the fact that the man been at the weight class forever. That's the only weight class he's been at. It might just be that time for him to move up. But I think if he buckled down and get a nutritionist if it's not too late, and he can make the weight. It's just he gotta sacrifice some things, because I mean
the thing is, even when he fought that guy Gorillo, he was having a hard time making weight with that fight. So I mean, I just think it might be time for him to move on from the weight class. The bad part is he might just be a little bit. His stature might not be he don't have enough stature to probably go to 147. He just really got to figure a way to make that weight, man. Because if he go to 147, he definitely won't look the same at all, man. I don't see it.
I don't know if he won't look the same, because I mean he'll be more at his natural weight at 147. I mean he still won't be at his natural weight, because I think Regis walks around at like 160, maybe 170. Regis is a big dude. He cut his weight down. What's going on, Godbody? He cut his weight down to make 140. I think he walks around like 160, 170. So I don't think he wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be a big problem for him to be at 147. I just think he's more comfortable being at 140. But like I said, the man, I think he's like 30, 32, 33.
Yeah.
When you get in those 30s, it's kind of hard to cut that weight. It takes a lot. You getting that grown man weight on you, and it's kind of hard. Once you get that weight on you, it's hard to drop it off.
And you know the funny thing about it, I think Devin Haney picked this fight strategically because he looked so bad against Zorillo. So I mean, either way it goes, man, I think this will be a fight where I feel like Devin Haney are dominating, because if we all know Regis got his issues, man, and if he can't make the weight, man, he gonna get dominated in that fight, man. I don't see him winning.
I think he'll get outboxed. I still have questions with Devin Haney in the later rounds. Devin Haney, he tends to gas out a little bit. He don't gas out to like the level of a Caleb Plant or anything like that, but he slows down. He doesn't move. He doesn't move as much. And like I said, we all know that Regis, he can punch.
Right.
And I think if Devin get hit, because we saw what happened when Linares caught him. I think if Devin get hit with one of those shots from Regis, I don't know if he'll be able to withstand that. I don't know.
Hey, you know the funny thing. Hey, we know Casey. Well, we know you repping for your New Orleans brother, man. But it's midnight and it's time for him to get another loss, man. So I understand what you're doing. But speaking on that, man, when you talk about Regis Prograis, I think he's one of those rare fighters, man. That's just I can say I don't see many weaknesses in this game. He's a pretty solid fighter, man. I mean, if he would have won maybe the Josh Taylor fight, we probably talking about him in a different light. What you think, man?
Yeah, Regis, he has the tools to be an elite fighter. I just think at times he lacks the discipline, and he have issues with cutting the ring off at times. But if he comes in there and he's running on all cylinders, yeah, you see a elite Regis Prograis. And I mean, it's hard to beat that Regis Prograis. When a Regis Prograis he's on all cylinders, is running high, it's hard to beat that man.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing about it, man, when you talk about Devin Haney, I think the thing that Devin Haney is doing was something you spoke about a couple episodes ago, is that he really played to the crowd. I was watching one of his fights recently. It was him versus Loma, and you could just tell as the crowd oohed and ahed, when Loma hit him, he tried to, copy. And the same thing when he fought Kambosos the second time. He really was in there trying to throw, get the crowd involved. And I think that's going to be bad for Devin Haney if you get in there with the wrong guy. And I like Devin Haney. I just know this. I think he's just a man without a country. And I think if he don't take that step to get his dad out of his corner, man, he'll never be what we think he can be. Because I think he can be a better version of Super Judah, man. So I don't know. What do you see Devin Sealy at, man?
I don't know. What's going on, Quick? What's going on, sis? Yeah.
Hey, we got it.
Devin Haney. The thing is, we got to remember, Devin Haney is only 24 years old. He's still growing. He's still learning. He's still a young man. So I mean, even though he's been in the sport of boxing since he was 16 as a pro, he's still a young man. He's still learning. He's starting to get the caliber of fighters to make him grow in his career. So he wasn't put on the level of like a Tank Davis, where we say, okay, Tank Davis had an easy road. But if you look at Tank Davis, they strategically moved his career. They gave him tough fights, but they didn't give him a tough fight that he was going to lose. It was just a tough fight to push him just enough to show how good Tank Davis really could be. So Devin Haney never really had that. Devin Haney pretty much had an easy road because he started off in Mexico, and he pretty much had an easy road getting to where he's at now. Now he's starting to fight tougher fights. So he's still growing. I think Devin Haney can be a top-notch fighter. He has all the skills to be a top-notch fighter. The only thing he doesn't have that we haven't seen from him yet is the power. But as far as his boxing ability, the ring IQ, and the footwork and the defense, he has all of that. It's just he just don't have the power. So I mean like I said, he can be a Floyd Mayweather-like boxer. It's just a matter of, does he have the discipline, and is he going to be able to say, okay, I'm not paying attention to what the crowd want. I'm gonna do what I know that's going to make me win. If he can do that, then the sky's the limit for Devin Haney.
That's a good point, man. And going to our next topic, man. This is one out that really got me. Did you hear what Bivol said? Dimitri Bivol said. Dimitri Bivol had an interview on Fight Hype, and he basically went into pretty strong details that he's willing to come down to 168. He wants to be a two-division champion. He said he can't make light heavyweight. He can do light heavy, but he can't do heavyweight. He said it's just too much weight for him. So what I'm wondering is this, man. Dimitri Bivol said he wants to fight Charlo next. So is it just me, but is there starting to be an overwhelming sentiment that Canelo's going to lose this fight to Charlo? Why is everybody saying he's going to lose this fight, man, knowing he's a 5-division champion?
Because everybody's seen what we saw the last 3 fights with Canelo. He's on the downhill. He's on the downhill slump. So I mean, if you take and look at the last 3 fights of Canelo, and then you look at the last 3 fights of Jermell Charlo, you say, okay, who look like they're trending up and who look like they're trending down? Canelo look like he's trending down. Charlo look like he's trending up. So even though they're the same age, Charlo has about half the amount of fights that Canelo has.
Yeah.
So Canelo is, even though he's 33, he's more like 43 with all the fights that he got. So I mean, like I said, Charlo, he's longer. No. Pause. I should say he has a longer arm reach. He has a longer arm reach.
There we go.
His body mass is bigger. He's a taller guy. But and I just think Charlo is just, he's that. What's going on, Black Star Sports? Appreciate you coming through, my man. Appreciate you coming through. I just think Charlo is a guy that a lot of people tend to overlook because they know the name of Canelo and they know what Canelo done, and they say, okay, Charlo's been at 54. He ain't really fought the level of competition that Canelo has. But if you look at the competition that Charlo fought, Charlo didn't take no easy road. He fought those guys at 54 that Charlo fought were tough guys. Those guys, they came in there to fight. I mean, he took a loss from Tony Harrison, which me personally, I don't believe he lost that fight. I think he was losing the second fight, but whatever it is, he took a loss from Tony Harrison, and then he took a draw from Brian Castano, and he revenges both of those. So Charlo, he's not an easy guy to beat. And like I said, I think a lot of people look at Charlo and say, oh, he's moving up to 68. He's not really ready for that weight class, and Canelo's been in that weight class. He's undisputed. But they fail to realize is Charlo is the bigger fighter. He's the bigger fighter. He's the longer fighter. He's the more athletic fighter. He got more speed. So I mean, I understand what Bivol look at, and I see the same thing that Bivol see, and I see a lot of people see the same thing, and they like, okay, this is going to be a tough fight for Charlo, but they still saying Canelo's going to win the fight. I mean,
by knockout though. You talking about by knockout, D-Free knockout. That's what I mean.
It very well can be because Canelo tends to gas out in the later rounds. Canelo gas out, and like I said, Charlo, we never seen Charlo gas out. I never seen Charlo gas. So if Charlo still had the power that he has in round 1 in the later rounds, it's going to be a problem for Canelo. We saw what happened with Bivol. It was a problem. And Bivol fights somewhat the same way in the same style as a Charlo. But I believe Charlo got more power than Bivol. I believe Charlo got more power. So I could see Canelo getting stopped. I'm not going to call it a stoppage. I'm going to say Charlo wins on the scorecards because I think he's going to do what Bivol did. I think he's just going to outbox him, and it's going to be hard for them to give the fight to Canelo, even though they might want to.
Hey, I think the funny thing about it is, as always, my brother D-Free forget who Canelo Alvarez is, man. This is just like when he fought Danny Jacobs. I'm picking Charlo to win. Only reason I'm picking Charlo to win is because I think that a lot of the stuff I've seen Brian Castano do, I think Canelo does, but just not as good anymore. So I just kind of worry, can Canelo really hold up when, because one thing about Charlo is he picked the pace up. He do a lot of that Adrian Bonner-Floyd. As soon as you get to 8th, 9th round, he want to turn the pace up. We trying to get out of here. They just got started. So I'm more worried about what's going to happen with Canelo's engine more than anything. But to that fact, do you think it's a smart idea for Bivol to call out Charlo and not call up Beterbiev? Isn't that like a coward move?
No, actually it's not, because Beterbiev and Bivol can't have that fight because the WBC won't sanction it. That's the reason why that fight is not happening. They won't sanction it. So he's like, why am I going to keep barking up this tree when the WBC is not trying to sanction this fight? Because they said because Bivol is from Russia, they're not trying to sanction that fight because of the whole situation between Russia and the Ukraine. But although Beterbiev is from Russia as well, but they're not saying nothing about Beterbiev. He's still the WBC champion, and he's still fighting other people. So, I mean, it's the WBC. It has nothing to do with the two fighters. The two fighters want to fight each other to become undisputed, but the WBC won't allow it to happen.
It's a travesty, man. My man, Case of Boys, said Canelo playing too much golf nowadays. He do play a lot of golf. Speak to my man, Black Star TV. Let me see. He said it's because he went on his European tour, and now the easy fights are over. Only our Black American champions are still sitting here for Canelo. Come on, this is what I want to understand. So he went on a European tour. All he did was fight champions. Billy Joe Saunders is a solid dude. Pause. Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Smith, Rocky Fielding. I mean, he fought some guys, man. I don't know.
Caleb Smith wasn't no champion. Billy Joe, Yildirim wasn't no champion. Ryder wasn't no champion.
No. I'm talking about the ones from the European. He said the so-called European tour.
Yeah, that was still part of the European tour. It started with motherfucker Caleb Smith. He wasn't no champion. He wasn't no champion. They was fighting for David Benavidez belt.
Yeah.
So he wasn't no champion.
No. They fought for the WBA because he fought for the
WBC.
No, that he fought Yildirim for the WBC because it was a WBA.
No, Yildirim was his mandatory that he called for the WBC. He fought Caleb Smith for the WBC belt, and he fought Yildirim as his mandatory. He called Yildirim as his mandatory.
Oh, so they gave him a WBA and that WBC belt in that one fight? Okay, I didn't realize that.
No, I think the WBA, I think he got that from.
I thought he got that from. Did he get that from Rocky Fielding?
It might have been Rocky Fielding.
Okay,
it might have been Rocky Fielding.
He must have got the
Rocky Fielding. But I know he fought Caleb Smith for the WBC vacant.
Yeah, but I'll say this: I'm not gonna say, Billy Joe Saunders is Carl Froch, but I mean he's not a bum. Where we getting this crazy European tour crap from? That's all propaganda. That's propaganda, man.
No, it's not.
Propaganda.
That's
propaganda, bro.
No, it's not. It's a fact.
How is that not?
It's a fact.
Did anybody say anything about Adrian
Hold on.
Andre Ward fighting Carl Froch? Did they say that?
No,
they said
that's one person. That's one person. Name how many times he fought a European fighter before he fought an American fighter, or a Mexican fighter, or an Asian fighter, or an African fighter. He fought Europeans. He fought Europeans for like 7 or 8 fights straight.
Didn't he fight Lara?
That was after.
I'm just saying.
That wasn't part of the European tour. When he went on the European tour, he fought like 7 or 8 Europeans straight. He fought like 7 or 8 of them straight.
You rough, man. And then he went and beat Caleb Plant. He beat Elvis. So
that was after he came back from the European tour. He was like, okay, I gotta fight him for undisputed. He fought him for undisputed, and then he decided to go back on the European tour. And it bit him in the ass when he fought Bivol. He tried to go back on the European tour and fought Bivol. And
what
Bivol
that was daring to be great. Can you admit that was him daring to be great? I don't know why you keep saying that, man.
You can't say it's daring to be great when you already was a champion at that weight class. That's not daring to be great. You was already a champion there. You decided to come down because you didn't want to fight that monster named Baturbalov. That's why you decided to come down. You didn't want to fight that monster.
King Arthur, it'd be too much for him, man. You know that.
That's why he came down. So if you want to dare to be great, go fight that monster.
He gotta fight. He gotta fight.
No, if you want to quote unquote say he's there to be great, go fight that monster. Because we just saw you fight the baby monster and you got beat up. Man, go fight the monster. You fought the baby monster. You thought that was an easy win. You thought that was an easy win because he only had 20 fights. You were like, oh, he green. He only got 20 fights. But you ain't know that man really knew how to fight.
Hey, man, this is what I got to say to you.
Fuck Fred, fuck Howard, and fuck all of them.
What about Robin? She's hot, right?
Robin?
Yeah.
Who cares about that bitch?
You be going crazy on Canelo, man. Like he not superstar.
That's not daring to be great. Daring to be great is
we gotta fight. So he gotta fight the biggest joker in the division, the biggest danger under heavyweight. He got to fight him to dare to be great, and not Bivol, who nobody wanted to touch. Bivol was that guy. No. Do you understand what was on the line for him? He had the opportunity to fight Jamal Charlo, David Benavidez, or fight Bivol and Triple G. Somebody he said he wasn't going to fight ever again. He chose to take Bivol and Triple G instead of Jamal and David Benavidez. So if you was daring to be great, you would have fought Jamal and David Benavidez. You know he'd beat David easy.
No, I don't know, because if I knew that,
don't you know that?
Because he's scared to fight him.
No, my God, he's scared to fight Bivol.
I'm gonna tell you how this is how you know he's scared to fight him. If they offering you $50 million to fight somebody that you know you'll beat easily, why wouldn't you take that? That's $50 million easy. Why would you go take $50 million hard dollars instead of taking $50 million easy dollars?
Come on, man.
You work easy. You work smart, not hard. That's how you do. You work smart, not hard. So if it's easy to win that $50 million, take that.
We seen Caleb Plant beating Benavidez from pillow to post for the first 7 rounds. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's Caleb Plant. That's somebody that can box. Canelo can't box.
Canelo can't box. Since when?
What foot movement you see Canelo doing?
No, it's upper body movement in his case. It's upper body movement.
I don't care how much upper body movement you got. If your feet don't move nowhere, you don't move nowhere. You can move your upper body all you want to. If his upper body was so good, he wouldn't have 2 losses.
Oh, here we go.
He wouldn't. If his upper body movement was so good, he wouldn't have 2 losses.
So he lost to Floyd Mayweather. That's no shame.
He lost to Bivol. He wouldn't have. I didn't say he wouldn't have 1. I said he wouldn't have 2. So that means
it would be. I'll put like this. You could easily maybe say you seen that fight. 6'5", 7'5", man. Easy.
What fight?
That Bivol versus Canelo, because Canelo was landing on him. You could. Come on.
Hell no. Hell no. Bivol beat that man every round except for maybe 2. Bivol beat that man every round except for maybe 2. And I won. You don't give Canelo 5 rounds. I won $500 on that fight. We won $500.
You don't give Canelo 5 rounds. You didn't give Canelo 5 rounds.
I gave Canelo maybe 2.
Oh,
maybe 2. You need to go back and watch that fight. All you saw Canelo was like this. The whole fight. You thought that man was about to be the new Vic. You thought that nigga was about to be the knee.
What do you say? My boy in Case of Boy said, instead of saying I'm gonna just say the white boy too. Salute to my brother AB, man.
What's going on, AB?
Just missed it, man. Your boy D Free is going in on Canelo, man. The future Hall of Famer, which is crazy, man. I don't know how you do.
He's a Hall of Famer for sure. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. I'm not going to doubt that. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. But no.
So let me ask you this. Then I'm gonna go to our next topic, man. So you talking about Canelo fighting Charlo, right? This is the first time Charlo's fighting a Hall of Fame talent, and everybody say he's gonna knock him out. How is that possible? This is his first Hall of Fame fighter. Nobody he fought else is going to the Hall of Fame. Not one.
It's very easily possible because just because you're going to the Hall of Fame don't mean that your ass can't get knocked out.
So what happens if Canelo breaks his face? Will they say he's too small like they did with Leo Santa Cruz and Tank?
I don't know what they're going to say. I'm going to say Canelo was the better man. I don't know what they're going to say. I'm going to say Canelo was the better man. The same way with the Bud Crawford and Earl Spence. I'm going to say Bud was the better man. I mean, I'm not going to say that if Charlo was too small. Charlo called him out. Charlo said, let's make undisputed versus undisputed. So I'm not going to say he was too small.
So going into our next topic, I got to ask you about this. What you think about Jamel calling Terrence Crawford out after he get done fighting Canelo? What you think about that?
I mean, what he's supposed to do. Terrence said he wanted to fight him after he finished with Earl. Once the fight was over with Earl, that's what Terrence was yelling in the daggone ropes. He was like, I want you next. I want you next. So what is Jamel supposed to say? Okay, when I finish with Canelo, I'll come back down there and beat your ass. That's what he's supposed to say.
Hey,
I don't think it's good that he should do that because you're moving up 2 weight classes and then you're going to drop back down 2 weight classes. I don't think it would be good for him to do it. But I mean, that's what he's supposed to say. A man call you out. That's a weight class that you are undisputed in. I mean, my whole thing is, if Terrence really want to make that fight, why not go fight Tim Tszyu for the WBO belt, and then y'all can fight for undisputed? Because you fighting Jamel is not going to be for undisputed. It'll be for the unification. It won't be for undisputed.
It's funny, man. Salute to my man Case of Boy said Canelo excuses he don't want to fight Mexican because it's disrespectful to his country. That's total BS. I give you that. He said I didn't give him 2 rounds. How did y'all give him 2 rounds versus Bivol? He won 5 rounds, man. Y'all got to rewatch the fight. He won 5 rounds.
No, he didn't.
He was pushing Bivol around the whole fight.
No, he was not. No,
Bivol was just too fast.
He wasn't pushing nothing. He was trying.
You ain't see him picking him up and all that crazy stuff?
No. I saw that man frustrated and his face looking like a bright ass strawberry. That's what I saw. I saw that man look like he was about to get knocked out. And what was that? The 9th or the 10th round, he looked like he was about to get knocked out. That's what I saw. I ain't see him do none of that. I gave that man maybe 2 rounds.
Hey, that boy Case Boy said, Bebo, you say you rock with a known cheater. It's a lot of guys who cheated in boxing, man. You can't just put them. It's a lot of Evander Holyfield cheated. I'm sure you still rock with Evander Holyfield. I mean, people treating boxing, man. It is what it is, man. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't rock with Evander Holyfield. Just like I don't rock with Roy Jones. Once I found out they had got caught cheating, I stopped rocking with them. When I found out Roy Jones was the cheater, he was no longer my favorite fighter. And like I said, I was a diehard Roy Jones fan. Once I found out he cheated, he was no longer my favorite fighter.
I mean, it just depends on what kind of steroid they were using. That's the thing I would say. It depends on what kind of steroid they were using. I
don't care what steroid it is. Steroid is a steroid, period. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is.
All right, man. I'll let you have that one. You got it. What do you say? No, judges gave Canelo 5 rounds before the fight started. That's cap, man.
Yeah, that was because BVO was one of the judges. BVO was one of the judges. He gave him 5 rounds before the fight started. He was one of the judges. That's what it was. He was one of the judges. Man.
Salute to my brother Marky Dan, man. What I gotta do, Case of Boy? You talking so crazy, man. We gotta do it, man. Me and D Free gotta snatch a chain, man.
What's going on?
You that chain, man. You talking too
What's
crazy.
going on, Dr. Mark? Appreciate you coming through, my brother.
Salute to my man, Dr. Mark. He said, salute to guys of the rock, of the roll with the punches. Oh, salute D3, my brothers of elevation and God's beauty and goodness. Salute. Hey, you know the funny thing about it, man? Another fight that we haven't been talking about, man, is AJ Dillian White being cheating again. You think he'll ever get back in the ring after all that cheating, man?
I don't know if he'll ever. I'm gonna say he will get back in the ring. I don't think he should get back in the ring. I don't think they should let him get back in the ring because this is what, the third time he's been caught cheating. So I don't think they should let him back in the ring. But I know he will get back in the ring because it's another European that got caught cheating. So they're gonna give him a slap on the wrist and they're gonna let him.
Oh, man, you said
they just said the fight is postponed. They're looking for a replacement. They're looking for a replacement because the fight, y'all don't realize the fight was supposed to be this weekend. It was supposed to be this weekend. And I mean, even though it wasn't no big buzz around it because it was Dillian White and AJ, it wasn't no real big buzz about it. But I mean, and we had the Terrence Crawford and EJ fight coming up, so that was, everybody was talking about that fight. But yeah, it's the third time he didn't cheat it, so I don't think he should get back in the ring, but they're gonna let him back in the ring.
My man Marky Dan said, "No, Holyfield is still my guy. I don't care what the paperwork said."
Some fans is like that. They don't care.
What he say? Salute the low blow. Pause on that name. But he said, BBO skip over my chest. No, I don't, man. No, I don't. Hey, but this is the other thing that I found out. Did you see the WBC ordered Loma and Sugar Shakur to fight? What you think about that, man?
I mean, I figured that's what it was going to be because they already said that Shakur was the mandatory and Loma is the next highest ranked guy in the WBC ranking. So I figured that's what it was going to be. I think that's a good fight. I think that's a good fight. I mean, that's a fight to put Shakur on the map because if
another guy over 30, another guy over 30.
No, it's not. It's not the fact that he's over 30. It's the fact that Devin Haney just fought him. If he beats Loma better than Devin Haney beat Loma, because let's be honest, a lot of people thought that Loma won that fight. Me personally, I don't. I think Devin Haney won it. I don't have no problem with some people saying Loma won. I don't have a problem with some people saying it was a draw. I don't have a problem with people saying that Devin won. I had Devin winning 7-5. But if he goes in there and he beat Loma better than Devin beat Loma, it brings more eyes to Shakur Stevenson. And people going to look at Devin Haney like, is this the real reason why you didn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson because you knew that he was a better fighter than you? So I think it's a good fight for Shakur.
Listen, another guy over 30. That's the thing, D. I
don't care, but Loma is one of the top guys at 135, whether he's over 30 or not. I mean, it ain't too many guys under 30 that's at the top. I mean, you got Frank Martin, but Frank Martin don't have a name. He don't have a name like that. Loma has a name, and a lot of people still think Loma is that guy outside of Tank Davis. To be honest, outside of Tank Davis, Loma is that guy at 135. Outside of Tank Davis, Loma's that guy to beat at 135. So him beating Loma, it puts him next in line to try to get a fight with Tank Davis.
I mean, this is the thing. When you talk about that fight with Loma, man, this is the thing about Shakur. Nobody wants to admit Shakur has not fought anybody under 30, man, since Clay. Like, he just keep beating up old guys. I mean, can he get in there with somebody under 30?
Not old. 30 is
and
not
boxing,
old.
And boxing it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Loma's 35 years old.
It don't matter. Loma's still in his prime. That's daggone Terrence Crawford is 35. You calling him old?
No.
Okay then. So what are you talking about?
But I'm just saying that's all he's seen to fight. He don't want to fight nobody young.
So if he was fighting Terrence Crawford and he beat Terrence Crawford, you gonna say, oh, he beat another old guy over 30?
No. I'm
okay
saying
then. So
should be calling Frank Martin out. Frank Martin is number one, but he called the number two.
You saying he's fighting another old guy, but that's not. He's not old. He's not old. I don't consider Lomachenko old. By you saying Lomachenko old, you diminishing Lomachenko. Lomachenko's not old. He's not. He's 35.
I get it. You're gonna hop on there for Shakur, man. You're gonna hop in that booth for Shakur.
No, I'm just keeping it real. Because it ain't a lot of guys under 30 that you could say, oh, okay, let me fight this guy because this guy is under 30. Like Tank Davis is 28, he about to be 29. Tank Davis is about to be 30. So you gonna say Tank Davis is old if Shakur fights Tank and he's 30?
No, I'm just saying he just seemed to be picking out guys young that's older. He don't seem to want the young hungry lions, man.
I mean, everybody gonna be older than Shakur. The man only 25 years old, 26 years old. Everybody gonna be older than him. That's like Devin Haney. Devin Haney, 24. Everybody's older than him.
He says Shakur don't need to fight Devin leftovers. I agree with that. He need to go ahead.
Everybody's somebody's leftovers. Everybody. Unless the man is undefeated, everybody is somebody's leftovers. So
yeah.
If he don't fight Loma, I mean, he's looking for a big fight. He's not looking for any fight. He's looking for a big fight. He's trying to make a name at 35. Him going to fight Frank Martin, they're gonna say, okay, Frank Martin, he was still a prospect. That's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say Frank Martin was still a prospect if he go in there and he beat Frank Martin. I don't think he'll beat Frank Martin. I mean, I kind of favor him and Frank Martin, but that's more of a 50-50 fight because Frank Martin got skills. That's more of a 50-50 fight. That's more of a 50-50 fight, but it's still, they're going to say Frank Martin was a prospect because Frank Martin started fighting at, 19 years old. Shakur, we all know he started at a young age, and he was an Olympic silver medalist. So we know Shakur got amateur background pedigree. Frank Martin don't really have an amateur background pedigree. So they're going to say Frank Martin was green. But he's trying to get a big fight. He's not trying to get any fight. That's why he's calling out Lomachenko, Tank Davis. He's trying to get a big fight to make a name.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but this is the thing, man. You talking about salute to Marcus saying Terrence is a very special 35 years old.
No,
I'll say this.
I mean, he's special. Don't get me wrong. Terrence Crawford is special. He's number one pound for pound on a lot of people pound for pound list. I still say that's.
Is he on yours? Is he on yours?
He's on mine. He's not number one. And people say why you don't have him number one. Just because he beat Earl Spence doesn't mean that he's number one. I didn't have Earl Spence. No, did I have Earl Spence number one?
Thought you had number 4. You said.
I think I had Tank Davis number 1 and I had Earl Spence number 2. I think I had Tank Davis number 1, Earl Spence number 2. But
he dominated Earl, so he got to be number 2 then at least.
I mean, he's on my pound for pound. He wasn't on my pound for pound. He wasn't on it.
I don't know how, man, but
because he ducked Earl. That's how he ducked.
Oh my God! Here we go. No, he didn't. What did he duck Earl?
If you duck somebody, you no longer on the pound for pound. That's just like if you're a mandatory, you don't take your mandatory fight. You no longer in the daggone rankings. So if you were supposed to be a pound, if you supposed to fight somebody that's on the pound for pound, y'all both quote unquote are supposed to be on somebody's pound for pound, and you don't fight that man, you take an easier fight, then you're no longer on my pound for pound.
What the fuck you say?
Man, come on, man. How in the world? So he ducked the guy that he beat to death.
So if you're in negotiations and then you pull out of the negotiations, that's not a duck.
Come on, D-Free. No. He wanted to get an extra bag before he went and fought.
And what they said was, if you would have just came and said that to us, we wouldn't have a problem with it. He never said it. He was negotiating behind their back. They never knew nothing about it. BOK Prime knew about him negotiating with Earl Spence. They never knew about him negotiating with BOK Prime. So
he did that behind their back. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did that behind their back. They never knew nothing about it. They say, if you would have just came to and said you wanted another fight, Earl Spence said, well, I could have took another fight. I wanted to fight November 19th. He said, I could have took another fight. And you could have took another fight. And then we would have made the fight this year. He never said nothing to them. He just took another fight.
Oh, so
he was being sneaky.
Okay, I didn't know
that's
that.
That's a duck.
I mean, I'll give you that. If that's how it went, I'm gonna take your word for it on that. But let me ask you this. This is a quick question. How did you see Terrence Crawford going against Sugar Ray Leonard? Break that down for me, man. That's a fantasy fight.
I was thinking it would be similar to Sugar Ray versus Tommy Hitman Hearns because of the.
Oh no!
No, I'm not talking about the outcome. I'm not talking about the outcome.
Okay.
I was talking about the fight. I'm just talking about the fight. The fight will be similar to because of the fact of how Terrence Crawford fights. He has a long arm reach. I think he would have got 74-inch arm reach. And Sugar Ray Leonard, I think Sugar Ray Leonard arm reach is like a 69 or a 70 arm reach. So it would be a similar style fight. I might favor Sugar Ray Leonard. I might favor Sugar Ray Leonard in that fight only because of the competition that Sugar Ray Leonard fought. The experience.
What about that jab? That would have really hurt Sugar. With that jab, where he came off that counter.
If he can land it, because let's be honest, that would be the fastest person that Bud Crawford ever faced against. Nobody had the hand speed or the movement of a Sugar Ray Leonard that Bud Crawford fought. Nobody.
Amir Khan?
Nobody.
Amir Khan's fast. Bro.
Nobody. He did, even if you give Amir, I'm not saying it is, but if you give Amir Khan the same hand speed of a Sugar Ray, he don't have nowhere near the movement of a Sugar Ray. Nowhere near it.
No, he didn't have the movement at all. I thought he was talking about the hand speed.
I don't think Amir Khan hand speed came even close to Sugar Ray Leonard. But if you give him that,
did you see that bottle thing he used to do where he would be punching the bottle?
I don't give a fuck about that. That's not nobody's face. That's a ball that just sitting right there. That's not nobody's face. Let me see you do that in the ring. I saw Sugar Ray do that on somebody in the ring.
Hey, Marky Dan got a question for you, D-Free. He said, what about the 2 years EJ was recovering from the car accident? Was Crawford on your pound for pound list then, D-Free?
Yeah, he was on my pound for pound list then. Yeah, he was.
And he said Sugar Ray beating Bud. I don't know. I think the counter punch would be too much. You would have to see the fight. It's a fantasy fight. You would have to see it. Like I said, I would favor Sugar Ray just because of the experience. Sugar Ray fought every type of fighter. He fought the switch hitter when he fought Hagler. He fought the rangier guy when he fought Hearns. He fought the brawler when he fought Duran. So he fought every style that you could possibly think of. Sugar Ray Leonard fought him, and he fought the best of them. And so I would favor Sugar Ray, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bud comes out with a unanimous decision. I wouldn't be surprised. But them in their prime, it's kind of hard to beat Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime. Yeah. You have to be. But Roberto Duran beat him to death.
Roberto Duran beat him. But we also saw Sugar Ray when Sugar Ray came back and Sugar Ray actually came prepared for that fight. Sugar Ray made that man quit.
But Duran wasn't 100%, man.
Sugar Ray Leonard wasn't 100% when he fought Duran.
All right, man.
You making excuses?
No, I'm
not making excuses for Sugar Ray, so don't make excuses for Duran. Because I know Sugar Ray wasn't 100% when he fought Duran the first time.
He wasn't?
No, he wasn't. He didn't have his head in that that fight.
He had just got a big check, but okay. Salute the CDK boxing, man. Says salute, fellas. He said, my man Dr. Mark said he absolutely ducked EJ, and the outcome has nothing to do with whether he ducked for sure. That doesn't make any sense, Dr. Mark. If he beat him to death, why would he ever duck him?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. Since you say that,
mm-hmm.
If Tank Davis fight Loma, did he ever duck Loma?
Yeah, he ducked Loma.
Okay, then. So that's the same thing. Okay, then. Okay, then.
You got me.
Thank you.
Got me on that.
If he go in there and he beat Loma into a coma, then you still consider that a duck.
Our boy D3 had to hop in that booth, man.
God, I gotta put the shoe on your foot because I still seen it as a duck. And he fought him, but that doesn't mean he didn't duck him before. That's just like if Jamel and Boo Boo Andrade fight. That doesn't mean that Boo Boo didn't duck Jamel. He still ducked him the first time. He just came back around and fought him.
Hey, but going into our next topic, I gotta ask you this, man. What do you think about Boo Boo versus David Benavidez, Mexican Monster?
It's about time. It's about time.
Well, Demetrius,
it's about time because let's be honest. Outside of Caleb Plant, neither one of those guys fought anybody. Neither one of those guys fought anybody outside of Caleb Plant. And Demetrius just fought Caleb Plant.
Darrell was pretty good, man.
Darrell was old. Since you want to say niggas over 35 is old, Darrell was old.
Oh, he was whooping David's head till he got
but
cut.
No, you said you said niggas 35 is old, so Darrell was old.
Here we go.
You can't have it both ways.
I didn't say that. I'm 33, so I didn't say that. I'm like, see, you know what you gotta do with D-Free? D-Free is a politician. I want y'all to know that. That's DC's finest. Marion Barry, God rest his soul, will be proud of this man right here.
No, you can't have it both ways. You said the man, Shakur, somebody in the 30s, he old now. You want to say Darrell was beating his ass? No, he's old. You can't have it both ways.
Heck no. He said Sugar was fast. Hegs no the American. Everybody fast. Shadow boxing. Salute to my man Low Blow. He need to change that name. He said back then those dudes was dogs, 15-round fights. Being a 15-round fight don't mean nothing, Queso Boy. That's just how it was.
It means you have to have some endurance to fight 15 rounds.
I guarantee you Floyd would dominate Sugar Ray under that welterweight. He would dominate Sugar Ray.
He might. I'm not gonna say he will. I'm not gonna say he won't. He might.
Okay.
He might. Only reason why I say he might is because the man is undefeated. I'm not gonna say he won't. The same way I say Bud might beat Sugar Ray. I would just favor Sugar Ray because of the level of competition. I'm not saying Bud would lose to Sugar Ray. I'm not saying Sugar Ray would lose to Bud. We would have to. That's a fight that we would have to see. What's going on, Josh Sanders? That's just a fight we would have to see. We would never see it as a fantasy fight. A lot of people, because of what happened this past weekend, a lot of people would say, "Oh, Bud will beat Sugar Ray. Bud will beat Floyd," because of what we seen what happened this past weekend. But I mean, this past 2 weeks ago. But it's not a guarantee that he will beat Floyd. He will beat Sugar. It's just that's your opinion. And I have no knock on your opinion. That's your opinion. I just don't believe that it's just concrete evidence that he will beat Floyd and Sugar Ray Leonard.
I just say that. I don't think he would beat. I don't think he would beat Floyd. I don't think he would beat Floyd. But I'll say that.
A lot of people say he would.
I'll just say, salute to my man Josh Sanders. I'll say this. For how Bud looked that night, I don't think there's many guys that can beat him. I mean, I really don't, man.
Make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. I know we had quite a few people come through. Make sure y'all hit the like button.
Yeah, smash the like button for us. But I don't know, man. I don't know how you see it going on that fight, but I don't think Bud will lose another fight, man. What do you think?
Huh?
I don't think Bud will lose another fight. What do you think?
I'm not gonna say that. I mean, it's a possibility that he won't lose another fight, but I'm not just saying he's not going to lose another fight. It depends on who he fight and how he comes in that fight. Because this is sport of boxing. You could go in there with a David Ebenezer and just underestimate him and get knocked the fuck out. So I'm not gonna say he's not. It's a possibility that he won't lose another fight, but I'm not gonna say he won't lose another fight.
So what you think about that rumor about Floyd possibly coming out of a retirement to fight Bud? You think there's any truth to that?
It's a rumor. That's what it is. That's where it's going to stay at. Floyd already said he is not coming out of retirement to fight none of these guys right now. Floyd knows that he cannot mess with none of these guys right now. He's too old. His reflexes is not what they once was. He's not fighting none of these guys. He's not.
I think he can beat a lot of guys still.
No, he can. I ain't saying he can't beat a lot of guys. He's not fighting none of these top guys. If he come out of retirement, he fighting people like Blair Cobb or somebody like that. He's not fighting no Bud Crawford, no Earl Spence, no Boots, none of those guys. He's not fighting them.
But what about when Sugar Ray Leonard came out and fought Hector Camacho? Camacho. I mean, not Hector Camacho. What was his name? I thought it was Hector Camacho. My mistake. It was Norris. I can't remember the other guy's name.
He got beat by Tory Norris.
He did, but I'm saying he came out and fought those guys. Those were tough fights.
And Floyd saw you learn from your you learn from your ancestors' mistakes. He saw what happened to Sugar Ray. He like, I'm not letting that shit happen to me. I got a 50-0 record, 49 in my book, but he got a 50-0 record. I'm not going to lose my daggone O to one of these guys to make a name for themselves. No, Floyd's not doing that.
What was that guy? What was the last guy that Sugar fought, man? He was a Hall of Famer too.
Meldrick Taylor?
No, the last fight. It was Norris, and then I want to say it was a Spanish dude. I don't know why I keep thinking Hector Camacho, but that's not it.
No, I would have to look his resume up.
I gotta look it up, man. Salute to my man, to the Mac from the South, man. What's going on?
What's going on, Mac of the South, Macadocious?
Macadocious. Hey, but this is the thing that I want to say, man. You think Amanda Serrano's gonna still fight Alicia Bungana? I think Alicia Bungana wouldn't be smart to fight her next. What you think, man?
I mean, Alicia Bungana said she want to fight her. She said it.
Beat to death.
I mean, this is the thing. She might get beat to death. She might not. What I said before is, and I said it right after the fight happened. I said it the next day after the fight happened. My key to success for Alicia Bungana is to take Amanda Serrano out in the first 5 rounds. If she can't take her out in the first 5 rounds, she's probably going to lose that fight because Amanda Serrano is not going to stop coming. She's going to keep throwing punches. She's going to keep coming. And we all know Alicia Bungana has a gas tank problem. Somebody shot a hole in that bitch a couple of years ago, and that shit has not been repaired. There's a slow leak in that motherfucker. By the 5th round, her gas is on E.
She be gassed. He said my fish shot on. Hey, but that being said, man, I know we all seen that the epilogue, man, with Spence versus Crawford, man. Did you get a chance to watch that?
Yes, I did, and I saw some very telling information in that.
What did you see? What did you see, man? I see you got your Dr. D Free hat on. So what did you see?
I saw some very telling information in that epilogue that a lot of these Bud fans was telling me, Bud made the fight. And from what I saw in there, Bud, after the fight was over, Bud said, I want to thank you. And he's like, you know why I want to thank you? He said, because if it wasn't for you, this fight wouldn't have happened. So that let me know that the fight happened because of Earl Spence, not because of Bud, because of Earl Spence. And that came out of Bud's mouth. He said, I want to thank you because if it wasn't for you, this fight wouldn't have happened.
And you know the crazy thing about it, D Free, that was so telling about that was that you were right, man. I didn't know until I watched that epilogue. Errol gave up his whole A side to get that fight. Like I didn't know what you were talking about at first. Hold on, he gave up his whole A side to get that fight. So that being said, man, people got to give Errol his credit, man. Even though I think he don't belong in the ring with Terrence, that was just a heck of a performance, man. That was a really good performance, man.
Yeah, and see, and that's what I was saying when the fight was over and we was having that we had that live, and I was like, I hear a lot of people hating on Earl, but Earl did something that a lot of your favorite fighters would have never done. That man gave up his A side to make that fight happen because that fight wasn't going to happen unless Earl gave up the stuff that he gave up. And even though Bud was the better man that night, that man still deserved all the props for making that fight happen because that is something that he wanted, and he made sure he got what he wanted. Now, he didn't get the outcome that he wanted, but he got the payday that he wanted, and he got the legacy fight that he wanted, and he got the fight. So, I mean, he said he want to have his rematch. He feel that he can do better in the rematch. Now, a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't deserve a rematch. But he never said that he was going to win the rematch. He just said he feel he can do better. He don't like the way he performed in that fight. I didn't like the way he performed in the fight, but he said he don't like the way he performed in that fight. He feel like he could do better. He didn't say he was better than Bud. He said he feel like he could do better. And so people got to listen to what he said. He never said that he believed he could win. He said, I know I can do better. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that he will win. He just mean that it will be a more competitive fight, and that it will be more. It would be better for the fans and more. He probably go the distance. But what I also noticed is Errol Spence is a guy that he's going to do whatever he got to do to make something happen. Mm-hmm. He said, "I'm not taking a tune-up fight. I'm not taking another fight. I want Bud. This is the only fight I want. If I'm a fight at 147, it's going to be for Bud. I'm not fighting nobody else at 147." Even when they was talking about Keith Thurman, he's like, "Well, if y'all want me to fight Keith Thurman, I'll fight him, but it's going to be at 154 because I want to fight Bud for undisputed at 147." So that man do what he got to do to make the fight happen.
And when you said that, I kind of was. I thought you wasn't giving Bud his props on that, but I gotta say you were right in that aspect because a lot of guys wouldn't take that fight. I mean, he could have easily never fought Bud and say it was all Bud's fault, and Bud would have took the blame. Like history would have remembered Bud for ducking him. He could let the whole David Avocado fight, define him. But I'll tell you this, man, whether EJ wins or not, he's still a great fighter. Is he one of the greatest welterweights of all time? I would say yes. Yeah. Is he a Hall of Famer? I would say maybe. But I'll say this, man. Salute to my man McAdoo said, it's still man down. I mean, I think what happens is too many times people be throwing people away. Like I've heard so many people like throwing Errol away, Yeah, he got beat up, but he was in a fight with somebody he had no business fighting. And when you fight a guy that's that much better than you, I mean, but I'm gonna ask you this, D-Free, and I'm a fan of the Mexican style come forward. It's very rare for a Mexican like Earl to be the slick black fighter. I don't know, there's nothing he can really do because he's a Mexican fighter. A Mexican fighter is gonna have a hard time with a slick black fighter. What do you think, man?
I mean, yeah, that's that style of that Mexican style of fight, because I don't think Earl fights only in that style, but that style that you're talking about, yeah, that style is hard to beat a slick fighter because of the fact that the slick fighter has better foot movement. And if that slick fighter has a better boxing ability than you, and he has greater power than you, and he's just a better fighter than you, yeah, it's going to be a problem for that Mexican style to beat a slick fighter, because it's just it doesn't mix. It's always going to be tailor-made for a slick fighter. A come forward fighter is always going to be tailor-made for a slick style fighter. It's always going to be tailor-made for that.
But see, the thing that's so crazy is I would just wonder how come I didn't realize that Bud was that much stronger than Errol. That's a huge advantage, man. Like, I mean, Earl a little bit too light to be going against Bud. Bud is way too strong for him. Did you see that difference?
Like I said, I'm not gonna make no excuses. I'm not Earl, so I don't know exactly what it was that night. But what I will say is it very well could have been the fact that he was drained. That's why Bud was so much stronger. I don't know. But I'm not making no excuses because I wasn't in the ring, so I don't know.
You don't think Bud is stronger naturally? You think it was because he was drained? I thought Errol was drained.
From what I've been hearing from the fighters that they fought, the same fighters that they fought, they said they was more hurt against Earl than they was against Bud. So I got to take their word for it. If I'm gonna take their word from it, it seemed like Earl is the stronger fighter than Bud is. So they said they was more hurt against Earl than they was against Bud.
He said, "Boots whoop Spence." That's Cat, boxing nerd. He always go against the black man, boxing nerd. He said, "Why weren't you saying that before the fight, D?"
Why wasn't I saying what?
He's talking about how you broke down
a Mexican style fighter.
Yeah,
because I don't think
that's what Earl is. That's what he's known for.
I don't think Earl fight only in that style. That's what I just said. I don't think he fight only in that style, because I seen him box when he fought Mikey Garcia. I seen him box.
That was one time.
It doesn't matter. I seen him box that way. So I said that's not only the style that he can fight in. That's the style that he chose to fight that night. And the one thing that everybody says about Earl, he's a chameleon. He adapts to the style that he needs to do to win. He just didn't do it that night.
So what could he do to win? That'll be my big question, man. What could he do to win?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I mean him if he was weight drained, for one, not being weight drained. That if he was weight
7
drained,
pounds would mean that
saying,
much. 7 pounds would mean 7 pounds would mean that much.
Hell yeah. Shit, even 2 pounds is a lot. If you drain yourself 2 pounds, if you get to a weight and they say, okay, you 2 pounds heavier, and you're like, damn, it took me forever to get down to this weight, and then you got to drain yourself just 2 more pounds, that shit takes everything out of you. It takes everything out of you.
I'll say this. When I watch that epilogue, the thing I'll say is, and see, this is going to sound bad. I'm giving Bud credit, but it looked like Errol was drained, man. Like, I don't know how he made 147, man. He looked drained.
I don't know. I hear a lot of people say he was weight drained. I didn't hear Earl say he was weight drained, so I'm not going to say that he was. But what I will say is if he was weight drained, that could be a reason why he wasn't as strong as what we usually see Earl as. That could be a reason why.
So we've been hearing a lot of talk about Errol Spence going up to 154. At 154, you think who would be his first fight? You think at 154 after Bud, if he was to lose?
If he was to win or if he was to lose?
If he was to lose, because I think he can't beat Bud no matter what.
I mean, that's how you feel. I have nothing to say about that. That's your opinion. But if you say if he was to lose, I mean, it's plenty of guys he could fight. I mean, it all depends on who he want to fight. There's plenty of guys he could fight even if he win outside of the mandatory, there's plenty of guys he can fight at 154 because majority of those guys is on PBC. So there's plenty of guys he can fight.
Salute to Josh. What did he say? He said he was fatigued and weight drained. Y'all remember after the fight, after the first round, he looked and read Errol's mouth before round 2 start. He said he was tired. And Errol never gets tired. Castano.
Yeah, Errol. I've never seen Errol tired. Never seen
Castano. I think people. Castano, man, he might be done. Castano might be done because I think Jamel took a lot out of him.
I know what Josh said because Brian Castano beat him in the amateurs, but I think Errol wiped the floor with Brian Castano.
If I put like this, if he could beat the Brian Castano that fought Jamel the first time, it'd be different. But I think Jamel knocking him out the way he did, that was a brutal knockout. I mean, you can't. And you know what's funny? And Brian Castano won that first fight. I know it's not official, but Brian Castano won that first fight that they called a draw. And just think, if he could beat that again, which I know he can't beat, he probably could beat Earl. But the way that Jamel just beat him to death, man, that second fight, I mean, he took some huge punches, man. I don't think people understand. That egg got scrambled.
I think a better fight for Errol Spence at 154. Now, like I said, most of those guys is at PBC at 154. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. Mm-hmm. But I think Sebastian Fundora will be a good fight because of the simple fact of the Mexican fan base. Brian Castano, he's Mexican as well. But I don't think he has the following like Sebastian Fundora. I don't think he has the following like Sebastian Fundora.
He probably don't. Salute to my man 86 Boxing. Salute. He said, salute to my man Bruce Gass, the historian. I would love to have
Bruce Gass, OG.
Hey, we would love to have you come up and talk about Bud versus Ray Leonard, man. That'd be crazy. He said, if we go back and look after round 1, we read that. He said Earl's mouth was dead, dry. He looked he couldn't rehydrate. I don't know, Josh. I think that's kind of an excuse, bro. You really can't say that because he made weight easy and Bud missed weight. So I don't know. He made weight too easy for me to say. He just looked drained. I mean, I don't know why, but he just looked like if you
drain yourself to make weight, I mean, draining yourself means you're going to be dehydrated. Draining yourself means you're going to be dehydrated.
But he made the weight so easy, D-Free. That's
He didn't make it easy. He made it 147 exactly. It wasn't easy. It was 147. He made it exactly what it was. Yeah, I don't think he made it easy, but like I said, I'm not making no excuse because I don't know what the issue was. I don't know what the issue. I just know that he didn't look like the Earl that I normally see, and that could very well be because Bud was just that much better. That's why I want to see it again. Because if Bud does it again, then I can say, okay, yeah, Bud was just that much better. He's just that much better.
Is Bud an all-time great welterweight, D-Free?
I would say
he only fought one guy.
That's what I was about to say. I want to say yeah, but he really only fought one person. He really only fought one person. Yeah, I mean, y'all can say he fought Sean Porter and he fought Kell Brook, but Sean Porter was already 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He said he was going to retire, whether he won or lost. Anyway, when the guy's already thinking about retirement, I question. I question how much heart they really got in the sport of boxing. And then Kell Brook fought at a weight class that wasn't 147 for like 2-3 years. And then Kell Brook trained himself for that Bud Crawford fight. He didn't even have a trainer. He trained himself. So
he got that dude off Instagram. I read about that. He got a guy off Instagram to train.
Yeah, he pretty much trained himself. So he really only beat one guy, but it's kind of stop, close the door. It's kind of hard to say that he's not a welterweight great because he did beat the guy at welterweight. It's kind of hard to say that he's not because he did beat the guy at welterweight. But
it's a pretty thin resume, D-Free. I mean, that's all I'm saying. It's a real because I mean Jeff Horn was garbage. He was garbage, man. They stole that fight in Australia. That's why everybody thought Devin Haney would get robbed because Manny Pacquiao got. I mean, usually you need a mask to do what they did to him, man. He said Spence should go ahead and get Tim Tszyu. I think Tim Tszyu might be too big for Earl, man. I don't know about that.
No. Actually, Tim Tszyu is more tailor-made for Earl. He's more tailor-made.
He is, but he might be too big.
No, hell no. He's not. Hell no.
And he's like 5'11".
So
Earl's a little guy, man. Earl's like 5'9". He's little, man.
That's 2 inches.
That's a lot.
That's not a lot.
I'm talking about his frame looks bigger too. His frame looks bigger.
No, it doesn't. Earl got a bigger frame than Tim Tszyu.
I gotta look that up. It looked like Tim Tszyu might be.
You do realize Earl walks around at 180. He walks around at 180.
Yeah,
he drained himself down to 47. He walks around at 180. That's why Floyd Mayweather said Earl Spence really should be fighting at 160, not 54. He should be fighting at 160 because Earl walks around at 180. Earl's a big dude. He just trained himself. He drained himself to come down to 47.
So speaking about that, you have to write into our next topic. What do you think about Floyd saying he need to be a middleweight? What do you think about that?
I mean, I understand what Floyd said because, like I said, he walks around at 180. So him being at middleweight, he's cutting 20 pounds instead of cutting what, like 30-something pounds. Mm-hmm. He's cutting 20 pounds. So him cutting 20 pounds, he's fighting more at his natural weight. When you fight more at your natural weight, you're more stronger, you're more faster, you have more power. So you can do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do because you're at your natural weight. So when you like me playing football, when I played corner, I was always 185. If I was to come in below 185, I'm not going to be as strong. I might be a little faster. I might have a little more endurance, but I'm not going to be as strong. If I came in over 185, I might be stronger, but I'm not going to have the endurance and I'm not going to be as quick. So when you more at your natural weight, you have all of those combined. You have the sprint, you have the endurance, you have the quickness, and you have the strength. So that's why him being at 160, I kind of agree with Floyd because he would be closer to his natural weight.
That makes sense. Hey, we gotta announce the legend in the building, man. My boy Bruce Gas. Hey, Bruce, man, I gotta ask you this, man. I've been waiting to talk to you, man. What did Terrence Crawford show us that night, man? And you go back all the way back. What did he show us that night?
I just saw all those skills come together. I think he's a complete fighter. I think I saw a killer instinct. Man, he fought the perfect fight. He was just a superior fighter. Absolutely, man. I listened to some of the OGs on YouTube, guys like Scrapbook, Boxing Librarian, Blood Boxing, and they broke this fight down nicely. As a matter of fact, Scrapbook, he sounded like Miss Cleo. He broke it down so clearly. He's been watching both of these fighters since they were amateurs, and he just said, he explained how Errol Spence doesn't have the ability to switch from offense to defense as smoothly as Bud Crawford does. He talked about the footwork, how Bud has better footwork. He said he loves both fighters, but he said that the fight's going to be stopped in the 8th or 9th round. And man, it was psychic to hear somebody with that deep of knowledge speak on it. And I looked at it from a different way after I heard that, because this was his prediction. This wasn't his breakdown, his coming after the fight. Mm-hmm. I looked at Bud that way too. I just sort of he just had it seemed like his head was more into it. He had that more tunnel vision, and maybe it's the discipline of staying out of the clubs, staying out of the party situation, concentrating 100% on your family and boxing. Whatever it is, Bud was a special fighter on that night, and I think he's a better fighter all around. Errol Spence, I don't know where he's going to go from here. Maybe up to 154, maybe to 160. I mean, I can't tell somebody. Everybody's saying retire. You got brain damage, this and that, man. I'm not a doctor, and I can't tell a man when to retire from his occupation. So Errol has to do some head searching, realize if he wants to go back to square one. Maybe he needs a new trainer. I don't know. I'm not on that side of the game. I'm just a fan. But I'd like to see him come back. A rematch, man. I don't think there'd be any difference in the rematch than there was in the original fight. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it marinate. If we want to compare this fight to Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns, and even though it wasn't as competitive as, they had a rematch 8 years later. Both went their separate ways after their fight. Both won multiple titles. And they had a great fight. It ended in a draw when they had their rematch. And this could happen again, man. Both of these guys are top-notch fighters. And it was a fantastic week. And you can see people are still talking about it. People are still passionate about it, man. I'm hearing every argument from complete 360 to a complete 180. I mean, it's crazy, but this is why we love boxing, man. This is the sport. It's making it exciting all over again.
So in that fight, why did Spence look like Arturo Gatti? Why did he look like Gatti in that fight? Because he was the bigger man, the stronger man, and he looked just like Arturo Gatti that night in Atlantic City, man, when he fought Floyd. Why was that?
Well, man, I can't answer that question, but I can say Bud Crawford studied his man. Bomac is an exceptional trainer. People get down on Bomac. Bomac is old school. He was hanging out in the gyms in New York City, the 54th Street gym. He's a hands-on guy, and he listens to the old timers, man, because those guys don't give knowledge. People like Derek James, I don't think he has that basic knowledge on how to handle fights in different situations, get into the heads of different fighters. Bud Crawford just showed he was a superior fighter, and I think if they fight 10 times right now, he's got Errol Spence's number. Errol Spence, I think, like I said, he should go the way that Thomas Hearns went. Go out and get some more straps. Go make some more notoriety. Show everybody you're the best, and if they are the best, they'll eventually come together again. But I mean, this for a rematch to happen by the end of the year, I think that's just absurd, man. I'm hearing the Illuminati's involved in this.
There you go, Bruce. There you go. The Illuminati's involved.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what's funny, man? This is the thing I was asking D Free, and I'm gonna ask you this, man. So is Bud Crawford an all-time great, even though he only fought one guy? At welterweight, better yet. Let me clean that up. At welterweight.
I don't know if we can call him an all-time great, because he's still boxing. All-time great. That's kind of reserved for when your career is over, when they can look back on it. I mean, he's still got a lot of options in front of him, and if he keeps fighting like he is, there's no reason why. I mean, he's definitely a generational great. He's a great fighter in this generation, the best 147 pound fighter out there, and he's also got an undisputed at 140 and a title at 135. So I mean, dude, the man's Hall of Fame material, and it depends on what he wants to do. See, I was listening to a guy named Randy Gordon the other day. Man, Randy Gordon is he was the publisher of Ring Magazine, boxing commissioner for the state of New York. And he said, you know, I think in a perfect world, they would both retire after this fight, because the beating that Spence took, we don't want to see that happen again. And Errol Spence, he's made plenty of dough. I mean, that's the only reason he's going to be in this again is for generational wealth. But he's made the dough where he could get out of the game and represent the game, play golf, whatever makes him happy. It's a tough sport, and give some room for these young guys to come up here, man. We got a ton of 147 pound fighters. We want to see Boots Ennis and Abadizi, and I mean, there's just so many fighters that we want to see at 147 come up.
Hey, you know the funny thing about it, and I ask you this too, D-Free. Going forward in boxing, can we top this year at all? I'll start with you, Bruce. Can we top this year that we've seen so far? Because it feel like it's 88. That's what my uncle told me. It feel like it's 88 again.
Well, you know, the one thing we haven't had is a heavyweight championship fight this year. Next week, with Dillian White having to get out of the fight with the drug issue, now they're going to make the main event, and we don't know who's going to fight. People are saying it's going to be Helenius. That's what I think. He's the top runner. It could be Hershevek, which would be a great fight. Somebody's saying Andy Ruiz said he wants to get into the game, so it's real interesting. But no, boxing this year, it's back to like it was in '88. It's getting real exciting again. It's almost like it's a sellout sale. Somebody said to the powers that be, you guys got to get something going in this game. It's just it's not happening anymore, man. And hey, you don't mind if I share this stream on my channel, do you, bro?
Oh, absolutely. All
right, man. Because I got it on there. Shout out to Michael Johnson, the Bud Files, and Black Star Sports, and UGC Flame, guys. I'm over here on BBO's channel, D-Free's channel. I got fortunate enough to get invited, so we're here for some fucking cool knockout boxing, baby.
hey, Keith, I want you to end a debate that me and D-Free been having for a long time. Since we started our podcast, man, rolling with the punches. I want the legendary Bruce Gas in this debate. Who won, Oscar or Pernell Whitaker? Who won?
That was a very close fight, man. Very close fight. I think Oscar edged him out. I think Whitaker was at the end of his career, and as close as it was, you know, I'd have to watch it again. But watching it back then, I didn't argue with the decision. I thought it was fair.
D-Free argued with that decision. He was kicking and screaming about that, man. He keeps saying Pernell won, knowing Oscar beat him to death. He's saying Pernell won. So how you feel about that, D-Free? I was right.
I still have my opinion that Pernell won that.
Damn straight, man.
But Pernell was doing nothing but dancing. That's all that was. He was in there dancing.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this. I seen a fighter went around with not throwing no punches. All defense went around. He didn't throw not one punch and still won the round. So because Pernell danced doesn't mean that he lost because he danced. It doesn't mean that he lost. Because you can throw punches. If you can throw punches, but if the punch is not landing, they're not effective punches. They're not effective. You just throwing punches.
And while we got you here, OG Bruce, man, I gotta ask you this, man. Tell D-Free how good Oscar De La Hoya was, man. Because you always hate on Oscar.
I know Oscar De La Hoya was.
Tell him about Oscar.
I was a fan of Oscar.
Tell him about Oscar, Bruce, because you don't understand who
Oh,
Oscar
DP's no infant. He was around. He was around in the
I
'92.
was around with Oscar. I was a friend of Oscar.
Oscar was the golden boy.
He
I
talks
was a
so
friend of
bad
Oscar.
about Oscar, man. He talks
I
so
was
bad
a
about
friend
Oscar,
of
man.
Oscar. All I'm saying is,
He called Oscar my
No, see,
stepdad,
this is
all
what
this
I-
crazy stuff.
no, this is what I said. I said that he did not beat Sweet Pea. That's all I've ever said. He didn't beat Sweet Pea, and he don't have footwork. That's all I ever said. He don't have footwork, and he didn't beat Sweet Pea. I was a fan of Oscar.
And Sweet Pea was a tough guy to look good in front of, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even in his losses, even at the end of his career, he still make you look like a chump in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the biggest robbery for Sweet Pea was the Chavez fight. I mean, his first title fight with Jose Luis Ramirez, blatant robbery.
Yeah, that was a robbery. That was a super robbery right there.
Just a superior defensive fighter. When Pernell Whitaker got going, that was Willie Pep in the ring. I mean, you couldn't hit him with a handful of rocks. You know, he was everywhere. But people like knockout artists, so that's what it eventually came down to. Some people were turned off by Whitaker's defensive style, but I mean, I saw him fight this kid out of Chicago. I think his name was Louis Lamelli, and Whitaker knocked him out, man. Third round knockout, if I'm correct. But great stuff, and it just showed the word I'm looking for, versatility. He had versatility, and when an opponent came right to him and didn't worry about counter punches, bang, Whitaker could lay you out.
He good.
Hey, let me ask you this, OG. How do you feel Jermell Charlo facing against Canelo? You think he has a chance of beating Canelo?
Well, you know, Canelo hasn't looked 100%. He when he fought Bivol and when he fought John Ryder. And you never know, man. Canelo could have that right time. It could be the right time, right place. Very, very interesting fight. You know, Mel Charlo, he backs down from nobody. He hasn't fought in 2 years, so he's definitely bigger than 154.
Mhm.
I think he's going to come in there maybe at 165, 163 range. It's going to be a great fight, man. I think it's going to be a real interesting fight if it lasts long. And I give Mel Charlo a chance if he moves around, if he doesn't get caught up in a slugfest with Canelo. He just might have the skills and the speed and the youth on his side to beat Canelo in a close decision. So never know in boxing.
So let me ask you this. Now I know you know your boxing, man. But is Beterbiev as good as he looks? Because he really has. King Arthur hasn't really had those all-time great fights. But is he as good as he looks, or is that just the competition he's facing that makes him look that good?
Well, I talked to his assistant trainer. His name is John the Iceman Scully.
Mhm.
And John Scully is a former professional boxer. He fought middleweight, he fought light heavyweight. He was in the ring with Michael Nunn. He's got an extensive resume, and he's a boxing historian. He makes me look like a freaking kindergartner. He is. I mean, when this dude grew up, he didn't have comic books. His dad had the Ring magazine, hit the Bible of boxing. He had,
Hold on, I gotta. Hey, can you let him say it? Tell him what that is again. Tell him about the Ring magazine again, Bruce. Because he always. I got videos of him discussing about the Ring magazine, Bruce. So I'm glad I got a non-biased guy on here like you, man.
hey, it's always been my favorite, the Bible of boxing. I stopped buying boxing magazines in the mid '90s, but before that, I mean, I didn't miss a Ring magazine since 1981. I mean, even before that, I loved Ring magazine, and you know, right now it's different. Boxing is different too. It's a whole different game, and you know, I listen to these cats. You know, like Dougie Fisher, the editor of Ring magazine. I talked to him on Twitter, and very, very intelligent, real historian. But getting back to Scully, he said that Arthur Beterbiev is he's an abdominally. Said this guy is getting better the older he gets. He's a devout Muslim. He's never had a drink of alcohol. never smoked a cigarette, never did a drug. He's the epitome of the body is a temple. He prays 5 times a day. And all he wants to do, he doesn't know boxing. He doesn't know he doesn't care who he's going to fight. He doesn't know Bivol. He doesn't know, I mean, he just knows who they tell him to fight. And,
wow.
and that's all he wants to do is just continue fighting, continue training. Unfortunately, the business of boxing, you don't get the fights you want to see. It's all lawyers going back and forth and different promotions. I think if Beterbiev was around in the 80s, fighting the guys like Saad Mohammed and Mike Rossman and Mustafa Mohammed and Marvin Johnson, I think he would have been a standout there. But as far as today goes, man, all bets are off when Beterbiev gets in there. Nobody at 175. I bet the house on Beterbiev.
Hey, I got Beterbiev over everybody at 175. I don't see until somebody beat him. I can't pick against him because he's knocking everybody out, and he's the type of guy you got to show me that you can beat him in order for me to pick against him, because that man, it's like when he sees his own blood, that's when he gets better. He goes in for the kill. He sees his own blood, he going for the kill. So I can't pick. He remind me of Floyd. I can't pick against him until you beat him. You got to beat him in order for me to pick against him.
I'll say this, man. When it comes down to it, I think what I've seen from King Arthur, man, he might have stopped Andre Ward. I think he might have stopped Andre Ward, man. Which is not. And I'm not saying that lightly at all, man. Hey, Celtic, I dropped the link in the chat for you, man.
Hey, yeah, I mean, that would have been a hell of a fight. That would have been a hell of a fight.
He might stop him. I mean, because like you were saying, it seemed like once he starts bleeding, it's like it makes him excited, and then he really want to fight. I don't know how you do that, man.
I mean, Andre Ward is one of the greats when it comes to light heavyweights. Yeah, that would have been a hell of a fight. I don't even. That's a 50-50 fight. I don't know how it would go. I don't know how that would go. I don't know how it would go.
And when have you ever heard somebody say it about Andre Ward? But you know what? I think that guy, Saad Muhammad, I think he would have beat Andre Ward because he was a dog, man. I'll say this. One thing I gotta say, I always wanted this, Bruce, is the pace they used to fight at. Is it because they fought such a high pace? Is that why boxing seems so much better when you watch it on tape?
Well, I think that the boxers from back in the day, they're a different breed. And the thing about these guys, if you look at these guys today, the sad fact is most of these guys are broke, and most of these guys don't have all their marbles. And the fighters today are looking at these guys, and they're like, man, you know, as great as they were, the wars that they had, look at the toll it took on their bodies, look at the damage it's done. So I know we're never going to see fighters like Saad Muhammad again. But Saad Muhammad, man, he was the miracle man. I mean, they don't even know his birthday. He's 3 different dates. They say. Seriously, bro.
I like how you talking,
bro. Listen to this, man. He was a kid. His parents were his mother. She was a drug addict. She dropped him off with his aunt to live. His aunt had a kid. She asked her kid. He was like 4 years old. Take him to the park and don't come back with him. And he was orphaned. They found him on the Franklin Parkway in Pennsylvania. That's how they gave him the name Matthew Franklin. The nuns called him Matthew after the Bible. And I mean, this dude has just had a tough road to hoe. You watch some of his fights though; they're the greatest fights you're going to see. You're going to see him on the verge of defeat, coming back dozens of times. When he lost his title to Dwight Mohamed Flowers, I said, no, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. But you know, this is the thing about boxing. One of these fights, you're not going to come back. So it could possibly be. We could possibly see that with Canelo Alvarez. We could possibly see that with with Beterbiev, any of these fighters. Father Time waits for nobody, and the accumulation of beatings, the miles that you put on your body. Hey man, you got to pay for all that eventually. So that's why boxing's a crazy game, man, crazy sport.
Hey, I know my brother CDK had a legend for you for the legendary Bruce Gas. Go ahead and ask a question, man. I know you had a question for her.
I just want to ask you, if, Floyd, I was listening to something Floyd was saying. Do you think if Floyd would have fought during the times of Thomas Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, you think he would have went undefeated?
No. I think boxing. Floyd was he's a very gifted, but Floyd dictated the way the gloves that he used. He dictated a lot of things. I don't think he would have been able to get away with that back in the day. His father was an active fighter back in the day. I saw his father fight Sugar Ray Leonard back at the Providence Civic Center in 1978, and we can get a good idea how Floyd would have fought Sugar Ray Leonard, because his father, if you watch some of his fights, he fights the exact same style. But as far as Floyd, great undefeated fighter. But I think if you put him back in the 80s, and especially if you throw him back in the 50s with the Sugar Ray Robinsons, and he
would have been too big, man.
Well, but also the damage those guys took on their hands. Floyd had brittle hands. He's had operations on them. He had to wear special gloves. I don't know if he could have gotten away with that back in the day, back in the 80s, 70s and 80s. But hey, man, I hate fantasy fights. I can't stand them. There is no correct answer. But,
right.
Hey, you know the funny thing about it, man. I think when people talk about the golden era of fighting, I always wonder, like, if Henry Armstrong was around now, man, he'd probably be unbeatable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever watched some of those guys like that, like, I was thinking about like Henry Armstrong would get hit, and it seemed like he just enjoyed it. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, see, when you think about the guys back in the days and the fighters now, it's the guys back in the days seemed like they were more hungry. They was more hungry than the guys are now. Like the guys are now is more so they fighting for the money. They all fight for money, but it's like the guys now they fight for the money more so fighting for the fame. Like the guys back in the days, they fought to be recognized as the best fighter. The guys now are more so fighting for the money. They're not really so much fighting for being known as the best guy.
Right.
That's a good point.
They weren't making the money back in those days that they're making today. So you don't have to fight more than twice a year to make as much as those guys made in their entire careers. So it's a whole different world. Like I tell people, I'm an alien in this boxing world today. I don't get it. I'm not going to argue it. I'm just going to take it for what it is. I'm going to enjoy it, and there's great fights happening. But it's not the same as boxing was in the 80s. In my heyday, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. But you know the funny thing about it, I'll say this: I guarantee you, Muhammad Ali couldn't stand in front of Tyson Fury the way he stood in front of people. You think he could?
You talking about Muhammad Ali in his prime?
Standing in front? No. The second Muhammad, not the first one, not the fast one.
Oh, okay.
The second one.
You talking about the second one? Oh,
the second one, not the first one.
Because Muhammad Ali in his prime, I don't care who you was. Muhammad Ali in his prime, you ain't hitting that man. You ain't touching that man. Muhammad Ali in his prime, he beat you before you got in the ring. He beat you before you got in the ring.
That hey Bruce, what was that British guy's name that he fought, man? Was he from Canada or something that Ali fought? That sent him to the hospital with bleeding kidneys?
Oh, you mean his last fight?
Yeah, before he got suspended.
When he was young. When he was young. Oh, maybe you're thinking of George Chuvalo.
George Chuvalo, yeah. George Chuvalo. You know what's funny? I think George Chuvalo would be champion right now. He'd be undisputed if he's around now. Ain't that crazy, man? I think he was just very good. But if he fought now, I don't think Tyson Fury could beat him.
Yeah, now, yeah. But if he would have fought in the 80s and the 90s, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't think he would be able to fight. I don't think he'd be able to beat Lennox Lewis.
Nope. He's not beating Lewis.
I think Riddick Bowe would have beat. I think Riddick Bowe would have beat Lennox Lewis. What do you think,
Riddick Bowe danced all around that man.
See that's the thing. I don't know because Riddick Bowe didn't take the fight.
Right.
And for that reason, I would have to say that Riddick Bowe knew something about Lennox Lewis that we didn't know. Because anytime a man don't take the fight, if you're the champion and you don't take the fight and you throw your belt in the trash, it's for a reason. And I don't want to hear it was because of the money or none of that. Because even if it's the money, you beat that man and you move on with your career. You don't give away the one thing that solidifies you. Because once he got in the trash, nobody heard about Riddick Bowe no more. You didn't hear about Riddick Bowe. It was all Lennox Lewis. It was Lennox Lewis, Tyson, and Holyfield after that. It wasn't Riddick Bowe no more.
I mean, I say this, man. I feel like Lennox Lewis doesn't get enough credit because he took a nap in the ring 2 times. But I think out of anybody, I would have loved to see Lennox Lewis versus Ali in his prime. That would have been a great fight. Because he's the first
I think Ali would have beat Lennox Lewis, but
Ali lost 3 times to Ken Norton, bro. People don't keep it real. Ali lost 3 times to Ken Norton. What you think?
He did.
Ken Norton beat him every time. I don't know how in the world he only got 1 out of those 3.
Style of fighting. Style makes fights. It's just like Sugar Shane and Vernon Forrest. Sugar Shane couldn't beat Vernon Forrest. Vernon Forrest couldn't beat Mayorga, but Sugar Shane could beat Mayorga, and Mayorga could beat Vernon Forrest. So styles make fight.
That's the old triangle theory.
That don't work.
Hey, let me ask Mr. Booth a question before I go back to work, if y'all don't mind. Because I got like 2 or 3 minutes. I got to get back in here to work. But I always said that, like, when people talk about Muhammad Ali, which he is my favorite fighter of all time, but I feel like that Mike Tyson is a better version. The young Mike Tyson in his prime is a better version of Joe Frazier. So I always felt like that Mike Tyson in his prime would have gave Ali fits because of his style. What do you think about that?
It would have been a great fantasy fight. I mean, damn, Mike Tyson for 3 years, from 1986 to 1989, he was the best. He was the best I ever saw. I saw Ali fight. I saw Joe Frazier fight. I've seen them all fight. You know, all within reason. But there were 3 years. Mike Tyson, he cleaned out the heavyweight division. Don King had the tournament. Every champion out there, every contender, he didn't dodge any of them. People are saying, "Oh, he didn't fight Riddick Bowe, he didn't fight Lennox Lewis." That was after prison. That was after didn't have it. He was a human being after he got out of jail, after Buster Douglas beat him. But 3 years there, Mike Tyson and Ali and a prime Ali. That would have been fireworks right there, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Salute. I'm out. All right, bro.
So
Much love, brother.
He was in jail 5 years?
No, Mike Tyson, he was in jail for pretty much 4 years. He was in jail from 1990, and he got out in 95, right? That was 91 to 95. Yeah, he did a good bid.
Almost 5 years. Yeah, that's what I figured it was almost 5 years. Let me look it up. It said it was 5 years. It was 5. He got out in 1995. But this is the thing I'm wondering, man. Everybody talk about Mike Tyson for that 3-year span. What made him so great?
Dedication, physical gifts. He had the great mind of Customato, where they took him as a 14-year-old kid and they put him in a boxing institution where he slept, and shit nothing but boxing until he had the weekends. You know, Tyson was a crazy bastard. He'd go back to New York on the weekend. I mean, damn.
You know what? I think that was more so the downslope of Mike Tyson when Cus D'Amato passed away. I think that was more so the downslope because Mike Tyson was never the same after Cus D'Amato was gone. He still was dominant, but he wasn't the same. He didn't have the dedication and the mindset that Cus D'Amato gave him when he was under his training, because it was like Mike Tyson lived and breathed boxing when Cus D'Amato was around. It was like once Cus D'Amato passed away, it was like Mike Tyson partying. You see Mike Tyson around a bunch of females and stuff like that. So I think that was more so the downslope of Mike Tyson once he passed away.
Well, Mike Tyson was adopted by Cus D'Amato. That was not only his trainer, that was his father. And he was afraid of Cus D'Amato. He didn't want to displease Cus. So he was on his P's and Q's. He studied boxing films. They had a library, Jimmy Jacobs and Bill Caton. They had the biggest boxing film collection in the world. And that's what Tyson did at night. And he was a student. He still is. He still goes and takes care of graves of obscure boxers. You know, somebody dies, they'll pay for a funeral expenses, things you don't hear about. But Tyson, for those 3 years, I mean, dude, it was wild. And not only that, but we bought into it. Everybody had Mike Tyson shirts, Mike Tyson T-shirts. There were the Mike Tyson cartoons around, posters, everything. Video games were just coming around. And man, you know, Mike Tyson, he captured the world. It wasn't just boxing fans; it was everybody. You know, when there was a Tyson fight going on, everybody was in front of their TV. You know, you don't see that today. You don't see, you know, he'd be on commentating on Wide World of Sports. He'd be on the Johnny Carson show. He'd be on everybody, Arsenio Hall. You know, he was a celebrity, and he was transcending boxing. Where today you don't have anybody like that. That's that everybody, all they have to do is say the name Tyson back then, and Mike Tyson, baddest man on the planet.
I gotta say this, man. It's funny because people don't realize Cus D'Amato changed boxing. You know what he did with Floyd Patterson, and even to a very small extent what he did with happening with Ali. Who was the better trainer, Eddie Futch or Cus D'Amato? Who was the better trainer?
Both great trainers, man.
Hey, because I always hear about Eddie Futch, but you always hear Eddie Futch and Angie. You never hear Cus D'Amato. Why was Cus D'Amato left out of that list?
Well, Cus pretty much stayed to himself up in Catskill, New York, and he had fighters, but he didn't have the elite. He didn't have the elite fighters, the big name fighters. But he had his stable. He had Jose Torres, like you said, Floyd Patterson. You know, he made the best with what he had, but he only had a little. You know, he had a little house upstate New York, with, you know, a 12-bedroom house, and he kept. It was a rotating thing. Kevin Rooney was in there. Teddy Atlas was in there. I mean, it was a constant, but nothing but boxing though. I mean, great stuff. And Cus was very picky on who he took on. He wouldn't just take on anybody. Mackie Don, salute, brother.
Hey,
so, I put my before I say, I put my Cash App in there, not for anybody to give me anything. I put that in there for Black Star because I got him a couple of autographs of Marlon Starling, and I hope he got him. But I sent Marlon a check. Marlon doesn't even have a Cash App. I said check, and if I'm saying, Marlon, you got to get these in the mail, and he's, you know, he's another one. He's been fighting for a long time. He's taking a lot of punches. He said, I put him in there already. I said, no, you didn't, Marlon. That was for somebody else. But anyway, Black Star, he texted me, wanted my Cash App. So I hope he got the autographed pictures, man. Because I'm trying to help out these. I'm trying to help out these OGs by seeing if I can generate some cash for them. Because I mean, most of these cats, bro, they're living on Section 8. Government assistance, you know, SSI. So if they can get a few bucks for their autograph, that's great. And I've sold a few for Marlon Starling. I want to get my man Leon Mohammed, Sugar Ray Seals. There's a couple of them that could use a few bucks. And you know, they don't realize how powerful we are over here on YouTube, man. You know, people appreciate those things. Those things are treasures.
Yeah, they are, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if I can help them, get them out there to make a few bucks for them, man. Give the people who get them a great present. I got a few back here on the wall, man, and I treasure those autographed pictures. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know the funny thing about boxing, I feel like no matter what, you can talk about eras or whatever, but it seemed like it all goes the same. Whether you're talking about Willie Pep, you're talking about Henry Armstrong, you're talking about Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, I feel like anywhere you go in boxing, man, these guys can fight today. I mean, I put like this. I don't think everybody can fight when they fought. Like it's very, very few guys. I don't think there's anybody now that could fight back when in the 80s. I really don't. Other than maybe a Terrence Crawford. I think even like a Tyson Fury would get handled by like a Larry Holmes. I think Larry Holmes would beat him easy. I mean, I think that's kind of funny how that goes. Do you feel like Larry Holmes didn't get his just due because Muhammad Ali cleaned the division out already?
I don't know, man. I read an article the other day about was Larry Holmes overrated, and it made a little bit of sense to me. Larry Holmes, I can't think of the real great fights that he had. Real Hall of Fame fighters that he fought at their peak. But I mean, Larry, when I saw him, he was a great fighter, but he used to keep that left jab out there almost illegally. He'd hold it out there and he'd use it as a defensive weapon to hold the fighters off, and he couldn't get away with that with guys like Rocky Marciano or Joe Frazier. Man, they'd come up, they'd break that elbow. Can you imagine a Mike Tyson uppercut with Holmes' jab hanging out? But he was almost 2 years on the couch, I think, when he came out of retirement and fought Mike Tyson. So it was Tyson in his incredible years. And Larry Holmes was coming out of retirement. But on the other hand, he got serious about boxing, and he went on to beat Ray Mercer. He had a decent fight with Evander Holyfield. He showed he's a great talent. But he might have been. I'm reading this article. I'm saying, man, maybe he was overrated. I don't know, man. I don't know. He wasn't a very, very popular heavyweight champion. People didn't give him a lot of respect out there. When he fought Jerry Cooney, he got they introduced him first. He was the champion, and they introduced him before they introduced Cooney. And
that's what I think about Larry Holmes. He didn't have the name, and he lived in the shadows of Muhammad Ali and Ernie Schaefer, and so that's why I don't think he got the acknowledgement of being one of the top heavyweights, because they all looked at him as a low budget Muhammad Ali, because he had the jab and the head movement and stuff like that. So he didn't get the acknowledgement of being who he was, because he lived in the shadows of Muhammad Ali. But I feel that he was underrated because of that fact, because he lived in the shadows of Muhammad Ali.
I'll say this, man. When you say that, then that makes me think Evander Holyfield is overrated then, because he beat an old George Foreman and he popped dirty. I mean, that's kind of tough, because then you got to say Evander Holyfield is. If you think about Evander Holyfield, he's overrated. He beat an old, past his prime Mike Tyson, even though he was kind of past his prime too. I mean, Mike was way past his prime back then. And I don't know, man. It's kind of tough, man, because when you say that about fighters, a lot of guys fall into that category. What you think, D?
I wouldn't say that he was. I wouldn't say that Holyfield was overrated. You got to remember, Holyfield started his career at cruiserweight. So yeah. I wouldn't say that he was overrated. I would just say he was a good. He was a great heavyweight for the time that he fought at heavyweight, until he popped dirty. Once he popped dirty, then everybody goes back and look at his career and like, okay, was he dirty in this fight? Was he dirty in that fight? And that's what happens when you pop dirty. But other than the fact that he popped dirty, I think Holyfield pretty much lived up to what everybody thought he was until he popped dirty.
He said Mike wasn't past his prime. He was on prime time cocaine.
No, Holyfield was a great fighter. I mean, Holyfield, dude, you look at the first fight with Riddick Bowe, even the Fan Man fight. I mean, his fight, the way he destroyed Buster Douglas, his fight with Foreman, and Foreman was not washed up there. That was George on the second coming of George, and you got to remember, after that, George went on to knock out Michael Moorer and become the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yep.
So, Holyfield, I think it's a sin to say that he was that you can't rate Holyfield higher than you do, because I just think Holyfield was a prime fighter. He got bigger. He started hanging up. He started training with who was that Mr. Olympian that he was training with, man? I'll think of his name soon, man. Lee Haney.
Lee Haney, yep.
Lee Haney, and
he got huge. Pause. He got huge.
That's what those Olympians do, man. And then they got to think of a way to get a little huger. And Holyfield, he was just coming into the era of Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe, and that plays on your mind. And hey, man, he made the mistake. I don't think he used any juice in his earlier fights. But
I don't think he did. It's just when he popped dirty, it made everybody go back and look. I was like, okay, well, we didn't think Holyfield would be able to beat him. Was he on something when he did beat him? So, but me personally, I didn't think the same thing like Roy Jones. I didn't think Roy Jones used nothing early in his career. It was when he popped dirty, then you got to go back and look at it and be like, damn, did he? Because Roy Jones was that fighter that you be like, I've never seen that before. And so when he popped dirty, now people go back and like, okay, was he on something when he was doing this? Was he on something when he was doing that? Because you never seen it before. But me personally, I never thought that they did anything when they was raining. I felt like when they popped dirty, that's because they was dirty. The time before then, I don't think they was dirty because they never popped dirty at that time.
I mean, you never know. Salute to my man, G. Hey, we're official. Hey, salute to my man, World Combat Sports. I gotta say, bro, you were right about Terrence Crawford. I gotta say that.
What's going on, Scotty?
Scotty, you were right, bro.
You was 100% right, Scotty.
Hey, Scotty, and the thing was,
Scotty,
I didn't see that kind of beatdown, Scotty. I don't know. You must got like a crystal ball or something over there, bro. Because I didn't see that happening, man. But in your opinion, where do you go next, Bruce? Where do you think Spencer goes next, man?
Time out.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Hey, D Free. So speaking about fights coming up, man, why do you think Tyson Fury is so scared of Usyk, man? What is this about?
Like I told you when we had our last podcast, what I think it is with Usyk is a smaller fighter. He moves around the ring a lot, and Tyson Fury put on a lot of weight. He put on a lot of weight to fight Deontay Wilder, and he's never been able to lose that weight since he put it on. And I don't think that his stamina can keep up with Usyk, and I think that he knows that Usyk is going to be a problem. And I believe that the fight with Wilder took a lot out of him. It took a lot out of him. He won the fight, but he's never going to be the same fighter that he once was, because we got to remember, he got dropped 4 times in those 3 fights. He got dropped 4 times. And one of them, he even admitted that he was knocked out cold. He was knocked out cold. He even admitted it. So when you get knocked down 4 times and you get knocked out in one of those fights, it takes something out of you. And we all know Deontay Wilder, he's one of the hardest punching that boxing has ever seen. Regardless of how you might feel about Deontay Wilder, if you feel that he doesn't have the boxing ability, you feel that he's too small for a heavyweight, regardless of how you feel about Deontay Wilder, he's one of the hardest punchers that we have ever seen in the sport of boxing. This man has literally knocked down or knocked out everybody he's ever faced. So fighting somebody like that is going to take something out of you. And I think he know that Usyk, he saw what Usyk did with AJ, and he's looking at Usyk as an undersized heavyweight. He came up from cruiserweight, and he was able to do that with AJ in 2 separate fights. it's going to be a problem for him. And I think that's the reason why he really put all those stipulations in front of him, because he really didn't want the fight.
I'll say that that's a good point that you're making. I think what it is that Tyson Fury is not looking to fight a complete fighter, because when you think about it, him beating Klitschko, he was all jab, jab, right hand, jab, jab, right hand. Same thing with only difference with Wilder was right hand or nothing. And then you go to Dillian White, who really is the left hook or nothing. I think this guy, and it's funny, we was just talking about the real deal Holyfield. I really think your boy Usyk has a lot of Evander Holyfield in him, man. He's a really good mover. He might not have that power, but I'm talking about the boxing ability. The way he be like boxing circles around people. I mean, he really, he gave AJ a boxing lesson. And if you seen that second fight, it seemed like he got stronger to where he probably could have stopped him if it was a 15-round fight. So I think Usyk is special, man. And I think we really are missing out, because he took an 85-15 deal, and Tyson Fury still turned it down. I'm telling you, man, Usyk might be the goods, man. He really might be the goods, because I've never heard of a guy, coming from, other than Evander, his direct competition. This dude really, man, probably could be one of the best fighters of all time if he gets the fights, because I don't see Deontay Wilder beating him. I say if Deontay Wilder catches him,
he won't take that fight with Wilder, though. Wilder said he wants to fight him.
Wilder's dangerous. That's the thing. Wilder is dangerous.
Wilder said he wants to fight him, and he said he's going to go fight his mandatory. I'm not saying Usyk's scared of Wilder. What I will say is, if Usyk can't hurt Wilder, it's going to be it's going to be a problem for Usyk.
That's the last guy.
It's going to be a problem. If he can't hurt Wilder, it's going to be a problem.
That's the one thing I gotta say. If you can't hold Wilder, Wilder is going to be Superman in there. Because one thing I remember when he fought Luis Ortiz that second time, and Luis couldn't hurt him. I mean, he knocked all that grease and sweat and hair and all that out of him, man. Like it was just it was just bad. You seen all that soul glow pop off his head as soon as he popped him, man. But
yeah, that was a nasty uppercut he caught Luis with. But yeah, I mean Usyk, I like Usyk. I want him. I really want him to take the Wilder fight. Mm-hmm. I don't know because he decided to take the mandatory fight. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes me.
Was that Dubras?
Yeah,
Dubras?
It kind of make me look at Usyk with a side eye, because you said you want the Wilder fight, and Wilder's willing to take the fight, and then you decided to take the mandatory fight. So it kind of make me look at a side eye. But I'm not gonna say that he's scared of Wilder, but I don't know. He might be. He might be a little scared, because I mean I'm gonna be honest. When you see a guy trying to fight you and he's knocked down or knocked out everybody he's been in the ring with, you kind of think twice before you get in the ring with him. You kind of think twice, regardless of how you feel about yourself. You kind of think twice about it, because you know he's coming. We know he can punch. So if you get hit with that, can you stand up to it? That's the question. And truth be told, Usyk got a little hurt when he fought against AJ. And
AJ hurt him. Ain't no
AJ
little
don't
bit.
hit as hard as Wilder. AJ don't hit as hard as Wilder.
He was definitely hurt.
But that's the problem with boxing today. When we talk about the 80s, they all fought each other. There was no inter streets to cross. They didn't have to worry about dealing with dual promoters. Don King pretty much took care of him, and when he wasn't, he would make deals with Bob Arum and Cedric Kushner, so these fights happened. But now, I mean, Deontay Wilder, I don't care who he fights. I think he should fight twice a year. Fight a bum, fight an up-and-coming guy. Andy Ruiz, that fight's a shame that fight wasn't made. Wilder, I mean, and this weekend, man, who's going to fight Anthony Joshua? We're still wondering about that. L Dub mentioned Helenius, and L Dubs is the man. He knows what's going on. And dude, do we want to see that fight?
No.
Yeah. No. I did hear something about Robert Helenius and it was somebody else. They mentioned somebody else.
They
first,
mentioned Louise. They mentioned Herjavec. They mentioned Herjavec would be a good fight. I think that would be an interesting fight. That
beat
would
AJ. He might beat AJ.
yeah. He's already on the card. He's already going to fight there. Ronnie Shields is already over in England right now with him. So I mean, I don't think AJ would take that fight though.
Yeah, that's two slow robotic fighters fighting against each other. So it's a matter of who land they punch first. I mean, but then again, I mean, AJ has been working with Derrick James, and he looked a little better in his last fight when he under Derrick James. He looked a little better. He was still a little robotic, but he wasn't as robotic. But he still was a little robotic. So I mean, he might gotten better since then. So I mean, who knows?
You know the thing about Anthony Joshua is he's very good. He's just not great. And I say that because he's an accumulative puncher, and he really, he's in and out, but he's not in and out fluently either. So it's just, to tell you the truth, if you put him against anybody who can punch, he's going right to sleep. If he was in there with Tyson Fury, and the way Tyson Fury beat Wilder, I mean, he took his belt off with Wilder. It would be worse with AJ. It'd be worse because one thing about Wilder, people don't realize Wilder got a chin, because you can't take them punches right on the button like he even took them. Whether it was against Luis Ortiz at his best, Tyson Fury at his best. I mean, I tell you what, man, Wilder's career, people when he retires, they're gonna really sleep on how good he was. And I think the difference between him and like an Ernie Shavers was he believed he was a champion. Where I can say I don't think Ernie Shavers come out of prison believed he was a champion. But I don't know what you think about that, D-Free.
Ernie didn't go to prison. Ernie Shavers didn't go to prison, bro.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it Ernie Shavers that was in prison?
Maybe you're thinking of Sonny Liston?
Sonny Liston. So I'm thinking of Sonny Liston. My mistake. Sonny Liston. I'm thinking of Sonny Liston.
Well, I mean, a lot of boxers did go to prison. Definitely easy to make that mistake.
Yeah.
The thing about Wilder is Wilder he has something he had to fight for. He was fighting for his daughter. He had to make money for his daughter, so he was hungry. He wanted to get in there and fight everybody. He wanted everybody, and he wanted the best of everybody. And once Wilder started realizing that he was better than what he thought he was, then his confidence grew. And that's when you started seeing Wilder started talking a lot more. Because when Wilder first got it after the Olympics, when Wilder first got into the sport of boxing, he was just fighting everybody. He wanted to fight everybody. Once he realized he was better than what he thought he was, then his confidence grew, and you started seeing Wilder started talking a lot more. And Wilder realized, okay, a lot of these heavyweights can't really be in the ring with me because I know my right hand. If I land my right hand, 9 times out of 10, these guys are going to sleep. So that's what Wilder realized. And the one thing I hated is that Wilder fell in love with his right hand. He got away from what got him to where he was. And what got him to where he was he used to jab a lot more. But once he started realizing if he landed his right hand, he had knocked the guy out, he started relying on that right hand. And he got away from the fundamentals of boxing.
Well, I think if he would have fought more, he would have got those fundamentals back, because that's why activity. He relied on that big right hand, and he fought once a year. And when he fought, he landed that big right hand, and the fight was over. Yeah. So I think if Wilder wanted legacy, he would fight anybody. He'd be more active. He'd be people right now. The casual boxing fan, they think Wilder's retired because he hasn't made any noise. He hasn't made any fights recently, and I just think the inactivity is going to hurt Wilder in the long run in history. I think the inactivity and the lack of competition, what he could have had right now, I think that's going to affect him in the long run.
Yeah, because Wilder's getting up there in age. I think he's like 36, 37, and so he's getting up there in age. He can't wait around because Father Time waits on nobody. So he can't wait around too much longer. He got to get the fights that he can get. If the big fights are not there, I mean, just take whatever. I mean, I understand he don't need the box. He made enough money. He don't need the box. He got other stuff outside of boxing, and so he only want the big fights. But when you in the sport of boxing, when you waiting around for the big fights, a lot of times that costs you your career, because you waiting around for the big fights. You diminish your skills. Your skills starts to dwindle away because you're not tuning them up. It's just like any skills that you have. If you're not tuning them up on a regular basis, they start to go away. And so by you waiting around for a big fight, your skills are starting to diminish away, and you're getting older. You can't pick up where you left off like you once could when you were younger, because when you're older, it takes a minute to prime that engine up. You got to prime that engine up, and if you're not working on a regular basis, that engine takes a little bit longer to get going. Once you get it going, then it's ready to roll, and it wants to keep going. But if you cut it off and let it sit for a while, then it gets cold. You got to warm that engine back up again. So him waiting around is gonna hurt his career, because if he want to continue in the sport of boxing, because he's getting older.
It's funny that you say that, because when I seen Wilder versus Helenius, he hit Helenius going backwards with his eyes closed. So that was almost, I don't believe in lucky punches, Bruce and D3, but that kind of what that was. He had his eyes closed. If you look at that fight versus Helenius, he had his eyes closed going backwards through it, and then Helenius started having a seizure on the floor. I mean, it was just crazy.
I don't think his eyes was closed. I think it was more so the camera caught him when he was blinking, because Helenius was throwing a punch at the same time. So I think it was more so he was blinking, because most of the time when somebody throw a punch in your face, you're gonna blink, or your eyes is gonna close while you're trying to move out the way because of your reaction. It's just natural reflexes. You're gonna do that. If something flashed in front of your face, you're gonna blink your eyes. So I think the camera just might have caught him with his eyes closed because he was blinking, because Helenius was throwing a shot and he was throwing a shot right behind it.
You know, Bruce, man, you got to watch these three, man. He got all these excuses for these guys, man. He just went in the booth right like Superman, just right then. You gotta watch it. He just ran right. Hey, you see him run right in the phone booth.
Hey, like I said,
What the fuck you say?
I've been around boxing a lot, and that's not the first time that he caught somebody on the back foot like that, because he caught the other guy that was sitting there knocked out cold. They took him out of the ring in the stretcher. What was the guy? The white guy that you said that slapped Deontay. Yeah. He caught him on the back foot.
Hey, he paid for that slap, man. He paid for that slap, man. That's for sure. But you know what, man? Before we get out of here, man, I gotta ask you one question, D3. Who was the best fighter from DC, man?
Who's the best fighter? What? From
DC.
Ooh. Hey, I gotta say Sugar. I mean, he's from Maryland, right? Technically, he's from Maryland, but Prince George's County, Washington D.C., they coexist together. So if you would put both those together. It's not like Baltimore and D.C. because Prince George's County is literally 5 minutes away from D.C. So if you hang out if you live in Prince George's County, 9 times out of 10 you hang out in D.C. So like right now, I live in Prince George's County. DC is literally right across the street. So I mean, but I would have to say Sugar Ray Leonard. But if you have to pick somebody that's literally in DC, that's tough. That's tough. Literally out of DC. It would be between Chop Chop and Mr. Gary.
Okay, I'll take that. And last but not least, Bruce, before we got it, a lot of the people that watch my channel never got to see him on tape really yet. But how good was Salvador Sanchez, man?
Oh, damn. Salvador Sanchez came out of nowhere. He destroyed Danny Little Red Lopez, who was a featherweight version of Deontay Wilder. He had a right hand. He was knocking everybody's head off. He came out of nowhere. He beat Danny Little Red Lopez twice. Then he beat Wilfredo Gomez. They called him the Bazooka. He had a record of something like 28-0, 28 knockouts. He was devastating. Salvador Sanchez, I think what was he 23 or 24 when he died, man? He died real young. He was a crazy Mexican. He liked fast cars. He liked fast women, and he fought everybody. He's another one. 4 or 5 years, and he just blew the featherweight division wide open. If you never saw Salvador Sanchez fight, go watch his fight with Wilfredo Gomez. Go watch his fight with Rocky Lockridge. His fight with Juan Laporte. I mean, he was a special generational fighter that a lifetime. You see him once in a lifetime. Maybe Bud Crawford will be like that. We'll see. Definitely Muhammad Ali was like that. Marvin Hagler was like that. Sugar Ray Leonard. But Salvador Sanchez, special fighter.
Yeah, I mean, even with his short career, a lot of people still crown him as one of the great Mexicans of all times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
he beat that. I seen that fight with that guy Alex. I can't remember Alex's last name. With the mustache, Alex.
Not Aguayo. He didn't fight
Aguayo. Was it Aguayo? He didn't fight Aguayo. Who was that booty for? I can't think of
Wilfredo Gomez. You probably think
Wilfredo Gomez. Yeah, Wilfredo Gomez. My mistake. That was a tough fight. It seemed like once Salvador got hit, he just turned up to another level, man. Like he got better over the fight. That's crazy.
He's another one. He died too young. It's what he could have been, but I mean he's in the Boxing Hall of Fame, International Boxing Hall of Fame, and it was a pleasure to see him. I remember the day he died. I couldn't believe it. People said, "No, he's dead." I said, "Dead? No fucking yeah, he's dead." We didn't have any internet back then. It was just waiting for it to come on a news broadcast or making phone calls and stuff. But yeah, man, it turned out to be true. Over a cliff, he was in training camp. He took off to go see some punta, and he was driving a Porsche, and Lord knows he was in the 3-figure department. So that was it for Salvador Sanchez, man.
Hey, I gotta say, I appreciate you coming to the Rolling with the Punches podcast, episode 3, Bruce, because you settled a long debate, man. That boy D Free, swear to God, Oscar lost that. I appreciate you.
I still feel how I feel. I still feel how I feel.
Hey, the OG boxing historian said that Oscar
won. There's every fight's got 3 judges for a reason, man. Everybody sees a fight differently. Some people love a defensive fight. Some people like the aggressive offense. Some people like ring generalship. You never know, man. I mean, I'm not Cheatham, Sutherland.
Hey, but then again, also another one that you settled that you didn't know that you settled. My man D Free been saying F Ring Magazine. I don't give a F about Ring Magazine, and you told him again it's the Bible.
No, what I said was I don't pay attention to Ring Magazine now that Oscar runs it. Before Oscar ran it, because I feel if Oscar is a promoter, so he's going to have his biasness. So I just can't look at Ring Magazine the same way as it once was before Oscar took over, because he has his bias.
For sure, bro, for sure. Everything is different in boxing today. Like I said, it used to be the Bible of boxing. I mean, Burt Randolph Sugar, one of the greatest minds in boxing, he's the one who called it the Bible of boxing. And all the way down, Nate Fleischer, Randy Gordon. I mean, every writer they had. that magazine, the rest of them, Knockout and Boxing Illustrated, they were kind of flimsy compared to Ring. Ring was nice and big. It had double the stories in there, the ratings centerfold. But I mean, it's not what it was today. So I mean, hey, if I didn't know Dougie Fleischer, I'd say fuck Ring magazine too.
Oh, here we go. Hey, that's messed up. That's messed up, Bruce. That's messed up how you did that. You know, before we get out of here and we go after this, let me go ahead and snatch your chain, Bruce. Let me snatch your chain. Go ahead and give me your chain off your neck. Keep talking crazy. All right. We'll be back on Wednesday, same time, same place, 7:15. It's the Rolling with the Punches podcast. Salute to my brother, Bruce Gas. Y'all follow, like, subscribe him. Of course, my partner in crime, D Free, DC's own, Oscar De La Hoya hater. D Free. And it's your boy, BDO. And we go.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.